Hello and welcome, everybody. This is day 3 of our 5-day Power BI challenge. I'm so glad to be on here. And if you're just joining, then do a shout out. Just say hi in the chat box. If you're watching the replay, awesome. I'm glad you're part of the challenge. And let's see. Okay. So I'm going to monitor. Let's make sure the audio and everything is working. Come on, my friend. All right, let's see who's on. Shabi is here, so a lot of repeat visitors. Repeat visitors. I don't know where the emphasis should lie. But, so yeah, let's do some shout outs. I'm so glad to have you guys back. So Shabi says hello. Miki's on. He's also in the Learn Power BI program. Joe is here from England. Well, good evening to you. Mario, awesome. Yeah, let's go. Day 3. Gustavo says hi. Deepak is here. So is Alejandro. Awesome. And I'm sure others will join as we roll along. So let's get going. Let's day 3, and I'm feeling pretty excited. And hope you are too. So about forward progress. That's what we were talking about earlier. So this is what we had planned. Day 1, we focused on the query editor. Day 2, we talked about model, relationship, DAX. Let's see how this goes. And day 3, we're going to talk about visuals. That's the plan. But before that, I have some announcements to make about day 4 and day 5. Ooh. I mean, we're not done, right? Like day 3, obviously, you're going to cover all 3. What's left after that? Nothing, right? No. There's a lot more. It's the journey that counts. It's not about the destination. So day 4 and 5 are going to be pretty interesting as well. So I'll talk about that, and then we'll focus on visualizations. So a few more shout outs. Jan says hola to Jan. Carl is here, and Mr. Later, actually Later from Cleveland. Beautiful. So day 4 and 5, and some of you got my crazy email. So day 5, guys, here's the idea. So I call it a day with Avi, and it's a working title, but I run it once with my Learn Power BI students. So normally, from the beginning of this year, so I had been teaching mostly in-person live classes, and then I kind of got disillusioned by that a little bit, because what I saw was that, I was drinking from a fire hose. I would check in with a lot of people, I don't know, a month later, a few months later, a year later, and I say, hey, how's it going? Yeah, And they're like, oh yeah, Avi, man, you taught that class. That was awesome. And I'm like, okay, well, what's up? What's happening? What's going on with Power BI? Like, yeah, we kind of tried it and it didn't work. And yeah, we're using a little bit. I'm like, what? It should have been revolutionary. It should have been earth shaking, right? But a lot of times that's not how the story turned out. And when I really talked to people, I heard them talk about, well, they get very excited in the live class. You take a lot of notes, but then you've already missed like 4 days of work, especially if you had to travel. And then you go back to a mountain of email and you have the best intentions, but you never kind of really get rolling. So I wanted to design something different. And that's my Learn Power BI program. Started off with a beta. I didn't have much idea what I was going to do, and my students helped me craft that. And so I know folks are busy, so all the course is recorded and in there, but you also need help, and you need constant help. That works far better than 2 days of fire hose training. So we meet every week. We do Q&A, and it's all about doing. We're all tired of learning, and frankly, who wants to learn, right? I mean, it's the means to an end. So we focus on making sure the students not only just kind of learn Power BI, but also are able to apply it. And so that's pretty cool. But one thing that it has allowed me to do is also experiment with a lot of things. So the format of the course is a group Q&A call. And I strongly believe, I still believe that is true, that there's a lot of great learning in group calls. We all learn from each other. We saw that yesterday. I mean, Nick Brady was hanging out, and Gellert Adams had a question, and I had 3 different answers for him. But the perfect answers was what Nick typed in the comment box. So, right, it's a group. You learn not only from your own questions, you also learn from everybody else's questions. That's a great format, but I wanted to experiment with the one-on-one, and I was like, how would it go? And I had no idea, and it was fantabulous. I mean, I loved it. I got a kick out of it. It was supposed to go, I think, from like 9 to 6, but I was talking till 8 p.m. So it went from 9 to 8, pretty much nonstop, back-to-back meetings. And these were one-on-one meetings and not like the group calls we do. So one-on-one, just mano mano. And it was good. I saw the impact that could have. It was just a different way I could help them. So I was excited about that. So this one is a little crazier. So day 5, you're gonna be able to book one-on-one time with me, but it's gonna be broadcast on YouTube. Everybody's gonna be able to listen in. So it's just you and I would be talking, but others can listen on YouTube. And that idea also comes from one of my students, crazy Bill McNair. I think that's the last name. Sorry, I might be messing up his last name. So Bill had this idea when I was doing it with my students, and he said, Avi, can I be a fly on the wall? Can I just listen in on those calls? And, I kind of said no to that. I'm like, nah, this is the first time doing it, and plus I wanted that kind of intimacy that we can talk about anything. But who knows? Maybe there's merit to the idea. Maybe people can learn from other stuff. Maybe it's gonna be good, maybe not, maybe it's a terrible idea. We'll find out, friends, wouldn't we? So we're gonna try it. And so day four tomorrow, the working focus is PowerBI.com platform. I'm not really sure I want to cover that topic. I mean, it's a meaty topic. There's a lot to cover, and it's not just about PowerBI.com platform. It's also talking about what if you don't want to go on the cloud. What are the on-premise options, right? So I got this model, I built it, I have, I did the query editor thing, connected to my data sources, built the model, and then built the visuals. Now what? And that's where that comes in. So that's a good topic, but I'm not sure for this 5-day challenge if that's taking on too much. Maybe we stay focused on, and maybe we revisit some of those 3 phases that we saw on this slide over here. Query, model, and visuals. So, where was I? Yep, so day 4, in the live call on day 4, tomorrow, we will share the invite and open the doors for David Avi on day 5, Friday. Now, when I did it with my students, in about 24 hours, the day was fully booked. So, I don't know how it's going to, I don't know how this idea is going to fly, but if you guys are on the live call with me today, as you are right now, awesome, thanks for joining, then you're going to have first dibs. And of course, you're going to have more flexibility on the time slot you pick. And hey guys, yeah, it's an experiment, so bear with me. If it goes sideways, we'll try again, right? We'll try something different, or we'll tweak it, and that's how the course has been. So that's day 5 and day 4. I'm excited. So my friends, this has been a weird journey. It has been hard for sure. Running your own business. Let me put it this way: if I had known that I would go through what I went through, if I had known before I started, I wouldn't have done it. There were so many days when I thought about my job at Microsoft. Like, that was so comfortable. That was so comfortable. So if I had known all that I would endure, I wouldn't have done it. But here's the catch, my friend. Here's the enigma. Having done it, I wouldn't have it any other way, because it's special. I'm with you guys. That's what matters. I'll talk a little bit more about that, why this means so much to me. So yeah, so if I hadn't taken that step, and then everybody would, somebody would have told me like, hey, this is what you're gonna experience, I wouldn't have done it. But now that I've done it, I'm like, hell yeah. I mean, this is awesome. This is amazing. What else do I have? Oh yeah, of course. So chance to win a See Don't Learn Power BI program. I don't want to overwhelm you with too much good news. So David Avi, let's see how that filters in. I'll certainly share more information about that. For now, I want you guys to stay focused on the challenge. And you know, we talked about it yesterday. Forward progress, right? I mean, just stay focused on that one ball and try to move it 20 yards instead of trying to move 20 balls 1 yard up. Let's do a few more shout outs. Shabi is saying your voice is a bit low. Let me see if I can fix that. Ooh, where is my audio coming from? Okay. All right, I've cranked it all the way up. Let's see. Okay. Yeah, that has happened before, so I'm glad you chimed in. Hopefully that improved. I'll stay closer to the mic. Peter is asking, are you in London? I'm actually in Microsoft's backyard. So Microsoft's headquarters is about 30 minutes away from me in Redmond. I'm in the town of Issaquah. Mostly people have no idea where that is. So I usually say Seattle, Washington, and that's people kind of recognize that. It's fall over here. It does rain a lot. All the rumors are true, but I love it. It's beautiful. It's very green. And I've been here for the past 13 years. Yeah, that's right. And 6 of which I spent at Microsoft. Before that, I was with the Washington Mutual Bank. That is no more. Went up in flames in the financial meltdown. That's a story for another day. So Oscar is from Panama. Yay, I'm so glad to have you here. Miki, so Miki is asking how do we book? So tomorrow, day 4, you're going to get first dibs. I think I'll send out an email as well to all the challenge, whoever is participating in the challenge. And gosh, do I have a... Oh, I think I have a page. So learnpowerbi.com/challenge. So if you're listening to it and you hadn't signed up for the challenge, I didn't really have a way for people to kind of sign up. So now I do. So if you could just go to learnpowerbi.com/challenge. If you do that today, let's put that in here. So invites to day 5. If not signed up, go to... Boy, that font is way too big. Go to learnpowerbi.com/challenge. And we'll see. Everything is beta, so I'm fingers crossed. So hopefully that will work. So Miki, I think you're signed up. Yeah, if you've been getting my emails about the challenge, then you're good. The challenge accepted. That was the thing to sign up. But if you missed that and you're just catching me on live here, then you can do that. Okay. Okay, so Oscar, yep, so we have our Facebook group so we have our student Facebook group. That's where it all started. And folks, we ran a few experiments. We had different forums that we tried and explored. So some we tried, some we investigated. But yeah, I mean, Facebook, gosh, are putting so much into their stuff that it's crazy. So Talk Power BI Facebook group. That's and that is also on the challenge. So if you signed up for the challenge, there was a challenge accepted page that has all the information. So let me see if I can pull that up really quick. So a few updates there. So the challenge accepted page. Again, I'm making it up as I go along. So this I'm trying to put like the sample data source. It links to the video portion where I covered and talked about sample data sets. Maybe I should do a list as well. And then some basic instructions. This is the notes. So this is really what I write down in my PowerPoint. Let's see how that comes up. I will wait for that. And then links to some of the videos that I mentioned. So so if you sign up for the challenge, if you already signed up, you have access to the challenge page. So the notes is it's really this file. Okay, let's see. So James is here. Awesome. Peter is here as well. Hello, my friend. So I think we're ready. So if you have any questions, type them now. Actually, you know what? I did want to talk about a little bit a little bit of content before we talk about visualization. So, hey, this is a busy time. It's the holidays. We just, hopefully you guys in US, or if you're celebrating Thanksgiving, you had a great Thanksgiving with your family. I mean, that's what I did. But I was also prepping for this challenge. And yeah, there's a lot going on. It's a busy time. I'm sure mine was on Cyber Monday or whatever that stuff, right? Uh, but uh, but yeah, but the truth is that is not just this time. I mean, our lives are so much busier now than they ever were. And I read this quote. It's in one of my favorite books now, Pencils of Promise. You might have heard of the organization. There's also a book by the founder by the same name, Pencils of Promise. And he talked about his experience at working at a Wall Street some kind of a Bain Consulting. That was the name of the company, but kind of a high-powered consulting firm. And he used this phrase, which I think is unfortunately true for so many of us. And he said, "The days are long, but the year is short." And isn't that what it feels like? I mean, yeah, our days are long, and gosh, I mean, I don't know. I mean, there's so many of us working 10, 12-hour days, especially if you kind of factor in the commute, and it's bigger. I mean, for a lot of you, I have a family, and the day doesn't end there. Then you're taking your kid to a soccer game or something like that. So it's a long day, but the year is so short, isn't it? You look back and you go like, shoot, where did 2017 go? I mean, my daughter is gonna turn 9. I barely gotten used to calling her an 8-year-old, and like she's gonna be 9. Where did the year go, right? So the days are long, my friend. We're all working hard, but time is going by so fast. And I believe that if you have dug yourself in a hole off that overwhelm, busyness, right? The fear of missing out all the time, the first thing to do is to throw away the shovel, right? So if you keep doing the same thing, it's not going to get any better. And I think we really need to move our lives towards something simpler. And it takes courage. And I'm not speaking from like a mountaintop. I'm struggling with it as much as you are. But I just want to, do a virtual group hug and kind of make a promise to each other. Guys, enough is enough. Let's move towards simple, right? And one of those things is all of this communication. And it's funny because I send you emails. But yeah, that's so challenging. And one of my mentors at Microsoft, James Whitaker, I think he's like a distinguished engineer or something, and he's an amazing guy. So he talked about that in one of the coaching sessions he was running at Microsoft, and he said something which blew my mind. And he was talking about how you shouldn't start your day with your phone, certainly not your email. And I've experienced that. I mean, I opened my inbox and I'm like, shoot, sucked in, gone, day's done. And he said, email, your inbox, has other people's priorities. Is that how you want to start your day? Or you want to figure out that, hey, what's important to me? So how about that, my friend? That's one. So James Whitaker. So keep that thought in mind. So yesterday we talked about kind of staying focused, and I think those two go hand in hand. Focus and simplicity. And that's the hard part. Sometimes we wear our business like a badge of honor. Like, oh yeah, I'm working 60-hour weeks. I'm like, are you focused on the right thing? And we are almost afraid of tackling that question because, I don't know, we're afraid of the answer, I guess, right? So, and that is a hard part. So let's do the hard work and move to a better place. Let's talk about visualizations. Okay, yeah. So, yeah, I missed Peter's questions. Peter's asking, is Joe in London? I believe so. Yeah, Joe said he's in London, and Peter knows I'm in Seattle. Awesome. Now everybody knows. How do we share a link with you related to a question? So you can, the best place to put would be in the Talk Power BI group. And usually my favorite is I just use OneDrive or Dropbox and get a share link and share that way. Some people also upload files in Facebook. Somehow that always feels odd to me. I mean, you can do that. So inside the Talk Power BI group, you can upload a file. Yeah, there's this files part, and you can Yeah, so James Hinton was helping somebody out. I forget who, and that's awesome, guys. That it's not about me. This group, and that's how our class group has worked out as well. I mean, initially it felt like, oh man, I'm answering all the questions, but now I I try to drop in once in a while just because like, hey guys, I'm here too. But yeah, you notice this? Yeah, I mean, I didn't even see it, didn't even get a chance to see this post. Let's see. So yeah, Peter already responded. Peter is a superstar, certainly in the class, and I shared this on day one. I think a quote from one of my students: "To teach is to learn twice." There's so much learning. I've learned so much in this journey, and by participating in this forum, in the Talk Power BI, inside the student forum, you're gonna learn so much. And here's the truth, my friends: a lot of my lessons have not been about Power BI. It's been about kind of connecting with people, working with them, and we talked about this on, I think, yesterday on day two, that Power BI is a bit of art and science, and you got to master both to be truly successful. You don't want to be just a data jockey, just using a different tool. Right now, yeah, you're still data jockey, but using different tools. Power BI really expands your horizons, and I mean, I want you guys to be data superstars, right? Rock stars. And I think it's time. I mean, the environment, space we're in right now, where a lot of companies are kind of dealing with data, it's time to kind of step up. But then you need to blend a little bit of art and science, and that's a great segue into visualization because that's certainly art plus science. So yeah, you gotta kind of blend both and kind of people skills and bring the whole thing. And it comes with experience. I mean, do you think I ever imagined that I would run my own business? Nope, sir. I mean, I work for like one of the other big companies. I've been at Hughes, Lucent, AOL, Washington Mutual, Microsoft, and boom, now I'm doing this. So yeah, I mean, don't count yourself out. Don't feel like, oh no, I'm not a people person. So most people don't believe me, but when I say I'm an introvert, and I'll save that conversation. But the short version of that is introvert and extrovert has nothing to do with whether you're a good public speaker or you're good with people. It's got little to do with that. It's more to do where you draw your energy from. So I love speaking on stage, but it exhausts me. After I'm done speaking, I just want to curl up in a fetal position somewhere. But I love it. I love it. I love the excitement, especially doing live events. Okay. Perfect. So one slide too many. Let's see. Okay, so Joe, I stand corrected. He's in Birmingham, which is not London. Okay. Ignorant American people. Peter is in Bristol. So great, terrific. So I love that. Connections all that matter. I know, so some of our students they came for the Microsoft Data Insights Summit. I call it the Power BI conference. That's what they should call it. And that's a big event for me. And quite a few of my students were there. We met over coffee, and then two of them, I think, were like, oh, we are pretty close to each other in Chicago. And I'm like, great, yeah, so that's terrific. It's always great to make connections. Your net worth is your network. How about that, my friends? Isn't that cool? Okay. It's like, Avi, are you going to talk about visualization? So I'm going to pull up a slide deck I used with my class when I talked about this. So for this discussion, I'm going to use dashboard and report interchangeably. I know Power BI has a very specific meaning for that. Report is where you see tabs, and then dashboard is the thing where you kind of go online and you see tiles and all this sort of stuff, right? So that's the Power BI's terminology. I'm not going to use that. I'm going to use them interchangeably. They're the same thing, a screen of information. That's what it boils down to, right? And is the official definition here? Stephen, I'll talk about Stephen Fee as an official definition. So for those of you who have been on this Power BI journey for long, you know that it has had many names. And one of those names was Power View. That was one of the first visualization engines. And Power Pivot happened, and it was amazing. And then Power View, which was, let's call it a stepping stone to bigger and better things. Right? Power View, one of the challenges was it was based on Silverlight, which is like, kind of weird. The world is kind of moving to HTML5 and all that stuff. So it was a weird fit. It was slow to load in Excel. It worked great on SharePoint, and that's where I used it. So I was using Power View quite a bit. And now you can assume that it's folded into Power BI. It's kind of reincarnated. And if you remember those early days of Power View, there was one demo that was often shown, and it was exciting. It was this. So I don't have. Do I have a video? No, I don't have a video here. But the balls, which no, not the balls, but these. So you had this diagram, this visual, and these circles would chase each other, and they would move through the year, and it was pretty exciting. So it's right, bubble chart, right? That's what it's called. And I was swept in that excitement, and I had an opportunity to present. I think I had 10 minutes or maybe 15 minutes at a kind of a board meeting. So this was Microsoft's obviously a huge company, so this was our organization, Microsoft Learning, which was about 300 people. So all the heads of that were going to be there, and I had let's say 10 to 15 minutes to present, and I put this on like a bubble chart with play axis. And I thought it was going to be so good. It was a disaster because I spent the 10 minutes trying to explain what the x-axis is, what the y-axis is, what the size of the bubble means, and what the play axis does. And yeah, it was just and I was kind of done. And I wanted to find something more. Like, how do I do this right? And I had stumbled upon Stephen Few, but now I took him up on earnest. And my friends, he has been my mentor. He doesn't know it, but yeah, he's been my mentor. And this book has been my Bible ever since. And we were talking about simplifying our lives. That's kind of the message that he brings to visualizations as well. Now, the way I see it, so Stephen Few, of course, he has his line of thinking, and he's pretty opinionated. Like, he doesn't like pie charts. But the way I think is that perhaps there are two realms. One is the infographic, right? I mean, some are almost meant to entertain and kind of visually entertain, be eye-catching. I don't know, right? So that's not the world that I live in. The world that I live in is the world in the trenches. Yeah, I mean, I've been on the business side, and I've been in trenches in one of the other different roles, sales, marketing, finance, operations, and I've been shoulder to shoulder with those guys trying to make shit happen, right? I mean, let's get stuff done. And there you have reports which you're looking at again and again, I mean, daily, weekly, or even a monthly basis, but it's not for entertainment. It's functional. And simple is best. So that's the scenario I'm talking about. I want to keep your chat window open. Okay. So is this, I'm not sure where this is from, but yeah, I mean, so these are, I don't know, different tools, but I've seen these. We all have seen this. And unfortunately, we keep seeing this even in Power BI. And my friends, I'll tell you, the custom visual is a dangerous weapon, because it takes a lot more skill to know which ones are worth it and when which one is applicable. I will say, if you ask me, and I think Stephen Few would concur, if I can speak for him for a minute, that a lot of them shouldn't be used unless for entertainment purposes, right? When Power BI team is running like they do this visualization challenge, then yeah, sure, wow the crowd or something. But this day-to-day in the trenches stuff doesn't work. That moving bubble chart is just too much. Simple is better. So this is some of the stuff that I graduated to. Let's see if I have some visuals from Mr. Few himself. How about that? Okay, no, sorry, I don't. So I do have the book. I would highly recommend the book if you are interested in this at all, visualization. And guys, if you're going to do it, man, let's do it. Let's make it awesome, right? Let's not make something that So we were talking about modeling and how that should be intentional. And that's what, oh shit, I'm messing up my notes. So that's what Stephen Few kind of talks about, where everything should be intentional. And one key concept which I loved was economy of pixels. So I don't know which one to stay with. Let's stay with this guy. Economy of pixel. And he talks about that every pixel should be intentional, which is as in, so I'm going to critique my own dashboard, and I can do that because I did this a long time ago. So things you would look at are, and again, I mean, this is, I would say this is a fairly good effort, but you question every single thing. And again, if you're trying to make it worth it, right? So let's say, so these lines, Stephen Q would question it. Not saying you should remove them, but ask that, hey, is this really needed? And if it is really needed, so if the data is conveying, if that pixel is conveying some data information, then it's valuable. But everything else you question, and even for the data conveying pixels, you kind of argue that what's the simplest way I can show it. So are these lines necessary? If they are, then can we de-emphasize them? And so the highlight, the hero, the spotlight is on the data, not on the whiz bang and flash and bang and all that stuff, right? And so forth. And a lot of times he talks about empty space. Empty space is glorious, my friends. So often we put a box around things, and it's like, do you really need it? And worse, we kind of color it in. We do a background, which is even worse. So if you're talking about economy of pixels, every pixel being intentional, that's like a sin. Like, did you really have to color that whole space, use up that many pixels? So those effects often you can achieve simply by white space and association. So human mind, so notice how these two are close together. So this graph and this graph are close together. And yeah, and I think this is a continuation. So you notice what's here. So this one is I think this is weekly. I got the axis wrong, but this is supposed to be weekly data and this is daily. So the last week we were looking daily. We want more detail about that, but before that we just want to see a weekly trend. But notice how they're close together, and that's it. Sometimes just by putting things close together, you can make human eyes kind of associate, or human brain really, we see with our brain, not with our eyes, make that connection that, oh yeah, these two are related, instead of putting a box around it and making it all purple or something silly like that. Okay, so Economy of Pixels, Stephen Few, awesome guy. Get his book. What else? I'll maybe cover a few of the principles, maybe one. I don't remember. I covered this a long time ago. So let's talk about placements. So all placements are not equal. In most cultures, they scan things from, let's see if I can get it right, from top to bottom and left to right. That means you're gonna, didn't mean to do that. You're gonna look at, so let's go back to our dashboard. So if you go here, you're gonna look at this first and then move in this direction and then kind of zigzag down, typically. And of course you can kind of change it depending on how things are laid out. So that means, oh, I had it overlaid, perfect. That means there are two actually important areas. The one is the top left, which is seen first. So you want to make sure that the most important stuff is there. And I'll say I'll struggle with this as well, which is sometimes I've kind of been used to putting the AdventureWorks logo up here and whichever client or company I'm working with. And I try really hard to step away from that. I mean, you can put the logo here. That way it's not occupying the prime position. The spotlight should be on the data. So that should be the most important data, the first thing you want the person to see. And you can also sometimes, if you put the logo down at the bottom, that's perfect because, logo doesn't really convey any information. So over here and in the center is also important. That gets kind of center focus. But according to Few, that only works if you have a little bit of kind of empty space around it. So if it's like really boxed in and busy, then this guy doesn't get that attention, but otherwise it does. What else? So some of the other random tips, I guess. So we talked about this yesterday as well. I'm not sure it came up in the Q&A, but don't let your customer design your report, at least the V1 of the report, or certainly not your model. You're the best person. You're the author. You're the expert. So hear them out, but then put something of your own. And if they get too specific, I try to, kind of dance around that. And that's what I'm talking about, where it's a little bit of art and science, right? A lot of it is how you work with the client. So if they say, oh, I want this graph and this graph, and I'll say, well, I get what you're saying. I got the idea that you're trying to focus on these data points. I'll try to put the best version together, something like that, right? So you design it yourself, and sometimes people are tempted in both the Power BI desktop, the report, right? So Power BI desktop, you create a report, and on PowerBI.com, you have the dashboard. So those are Power BI terms. I mean, really, as far as users are concerned, it's a screen full of information. And sometimes it may feel like that you have unlimited screen space, right? I mean, people ask me about this, like the page size. You can change the page size, by the way. I've never done that because, like, who cares? The screen full. Usually people are not printing it out and stuff, but yeah, you can go custom and make it like a 5,000 by 5,000 pixels, but what's the point? You see what's on the screen. So it may feel like you have unlimited screen space by doing this thing, or by adding more pages. It may feel like that. And the same with the dashboard. Like, oh, I have unlimited scrolling. I can put in as much as I want. But take that with caution. Take that with caution. And again, the book, Stephen Few talks about that, where there's so much lost when you break stuff across pages. So I'm not saying that everything you ever do needs to fit in one page, but I just want you to realize that what's the trade-off. That's what we're talking about, right? Day one, day two. It's all about the trade-offs. So realize the trade-off that if you split something in page one and page two, or have them scroll down, they're going to miss some connection. They're not going to be able to retain page one. So if there are some connections, some correlations that you want them to see, like, oh yeah, here you see the sales, then page two you see the budget, and you can go back and forth to kind of, that's not going to work. So you rethink. That's why screen real estate becomes like real estate. Let's like, I don't know, some piece of land in Manhattan. Right, you gotta be conscientious about every single piece of screen real estate you use and how you use it. And that's why the economy of pixels, there should be important stuff on there, not like purple backgrounds and stuff. Please, enough of that. Okay, last one, push towards actionable reports. So yeah, this was with a real client of mine, and we started off, and it's okay to start off. So I talked about yesterday where the experience of building a Power BI project, it should be Power BI's Agile BI. It should be moving in quick steps. It should feel like peeling an onion, and you go deeper and deeper, and the deeper layer should become more actionable. So we started off with this client. We started off with a basic report showing sales by sales people, sales staff, sales reps they had on staff, the sales agency, and we showed their quota and whether they were meeting it and so forth. We compared year over year. It was pretty amazing compared to what they had before that point, but plain vanilla as far as Power BI is concerned, right? As if you would ask me. But then we get the opportunity to go deeper. So the first version, you kind of hear them out and build something, but then you do go on a journey with them, or in some cases, take them on a journey. Sometimes they're not going to be ready for it. And that's one thing I've realized, and not push them too hard. Like if I have an idea and they're not ready for it, then you got to hold back. And of course, the best thing is that if you make them feel like it was their idea to begin with, that's the best way to get things done. So yeah, so you move towards actionable. So instead of comparing the sales with budget or sales with the quota in the prior year, we say, hey, what if we can show you the top stores which didn't have any orders or something like that, or had the biggest drop from the last year, and show you the information so the salesperson can just pick up the phone and call. I think that's about it. Okay, perfect. So guys, yeah, I mean, visualization. Let me quickly show you. Let me pop over, see what you guys have been talking about behind my back. How to move from one page to another through a chart and then go back to page one. That's a good question. Let's get that one down. And I'm going to need some help on that one. Simple as it. Okay, visualization, perfect. And oh, so I'm gonna need some help here because I remember seeing this in the Data Insights Summit demo, and if you guys can think of that, drill through. Gosh, Nick is right in the money. If you're playing like Power BI Jeopardy, my money would be on Nick. So drill through, and now for bonus points, has that been released? I'll admit, I'm not always up to date on Power BI. So drill through is the feature. As far as I know, it's not live yet. So Peter's saying, I think you start with the decisions, not the graphs. So that's a good point. Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, I mean, you do engage with the client. It's a journey with them. Where was I talking about it? On another slide. But yeah, in general, I've seen, yeah, at least the V1, you shouldn't let them dictate it. Oh, okay, it is live. So drill through is live. Check that out. Just Google it, I suppose. One of the Power BI monthly updates should have that. I should go check it out sometime as well. Okay, Curveball has an excellent video. She has, yeah, that's a pretty great good channel. And bookmarks. Jameson, okay. So yeah, bookmarks is another feature, kind of related. Was shown in the Data Insight Summit as well, and yeah, worthwhile. Also check out bookmarks. All right, guys. Hey, if you have any questions, let me know. I'm gonna just take a peek at the Talk Power BI group and see what's going on over there. But yeah, just pop in a question and I'll get to it as soon as I can. Wow. Awesome. Actually, you know what? Let me see if I can try something out. So we'll say I'm probably gonna start. So this is from the Zero to Dashboard tutorial, and this is the template that I use. The one part that I'm not proud of is putting the name of the company and logo right here. As I said, I mean, that's the most important position. It's kind of wasted there. It's not a data point. It's not conveying any information. If you're building it for a company, then mostly everybody knows that, you know, that's the company. Like, it'll be silly to put you know, Microsoft logo or something there while I was working Microsoft. So you can easily move that in a somewhat less prominent position, maybe here or here. But apart from that, the structure that I use is high-level data at the top. So here, and again, that would depend on your scenario, what report you're building, but I love seeing high-level numbers on top. And sometimes I use this card, the multi-card. Wait, let's try that again. Multi-row card, and that way you can put like all 4 of these metrics on a single visual. It looks slightly different, but you can make it look pretty close to that. In this case, I'm using a single card, this one, and this one actually pins better on the Power BI dashboard, right? So I've used this. So high level numbers on top, and then I do, oops, didn't mean to zoom in. I do a few breakdowns. So here we have by accessories, bikes, and clothing, and kind of the same information, variance by category. and then sometimes I do trends. So this is kind of by month, and then a little bit of detail. And that's the thing that typically in a kind of typical Power BI report that I would build, I am very, very wary of putting in a lot of detail. And sometimes I see people and they have like I remember in one of the Talk Power BI calls, somebody asked like, "Oh, I have 5,000 rows and 50 columns. Can Power BI display that?" And I was like, "Gosh, it can, I guess, but why would you want to?" I mean, and we have talked about it yesterday, where you really have you're free to choose any visualization you want, any visualization tool. You can build your model here, and really 80% of the effort that when I'm engaged with a client goes in building the model. Clean shape transform, bring the data in, and step 2, define the relationships, define the measures, and then visualization, you can choose any tool that you want. So if you have something really intricate, Power BI, when you can do it, sure, but I think usually you're going to have better success with Excel. So here, be wary of throwing in a lot of details, just a lot of tables and nothing else and so forth. So watch out for that. So just a little bit of detail, but that works great. I mean, even in this simple scenario, somebody can click on accessories and look at the top customers buying accessories. I do have drill down in this report, but I'm not a huge fan of that because it's about, so a good tool is discoverable and intuitive. So discoverable is where I like the fact that I can click on accessories and everything else filters. I think it's pretty discoverable, especially on a touch device, because inevitably as you're talking to somebody and you touch that and you go, whoa. I mean, if you've never seen it, you go, and then you realize, whoa, okay, I got it, right? So that's discoverability. And the next part is that, is it intuitive? Is it kind of makes sense? And so if you think about it, that touching something and everything filters is intuitive, but I have been asked a few times by some of my users, like, how do I unfilter? And if you think about it, it's not that intuitive. So for those who know the answer, probably everybody on the call, you just click outside. But you realize that it's not as intuitive, not to everybody. Hey, when you know, it's always obviously easy, but you have to think about users. And again, the scenario I'm talking about is where you're the guy, you're the rock star, you're the person, and you have maybe 100, maybe thousands of users using what you build. So that one is not that intuitive, but still kind of okay. So discoverability and intuitive, and I think the drill down is neither. It's hard to discover. They have these obscure, really small, tiny buttons, and which like, what the heck? I mean, the visual. Once you train yourself, again, once you know, it's always easy, right? So once you've trained yourself, it's easy. But think about a new person. It's like, what do these arrows mean? It's so tiny. Like, well, expand what does that do? So it's not discoverable. It's kind of really small. I mean, you can right click and see drill down. So it's not as discoverable, and in my experience, it's not as intuitive. Not saying you can't train yourself, but it's not very intuitive. So I'm not a huge fan of them, but I do use them. And when I do use them, since I realize that there's a challenge in discoverability and it being intuitive, I make sure I coach my clients. So coach the end user and talk to them that, hey, this has drill through and this is how to use it. And usually if they're on the desktop, I just say right click and drill down and drill up. Oh gosh, that's that. But there's one problem on this besides the logo in the wrong spot, and that was pointed to me. Well, I kind of knew it, but that was brought to focus by another student in our class, Alex Neighborg. He's actually a visualization expert. I think he's been doing visualization for like 2 decades. So we might have him on a Talk Power BI call one of these days, and we'll do something exciting. Maybe review dashboards that you send in or something. Yeah, so drill throughs are kind of cool. So you do not need to define a hierarchy. So we talked about hierarchies yesterday, where we said that you can be in. Let's do that. So let's do product, and you can define a hierarchy by. Oops. Let's try that again. So I can drag subcategory onto category. And how many of you have created a hierarchy by mistake? I do that all the time. I'm trying to drag the field over here, and I sometimes like whatever, I have a mouse glitch or something. I'm like, ah, dang it, I didn't mean to do that. So, but you create it that way, and then maybe you can drag in new things. So that's your hierarchy, and you can reorganize it, and that's good. It's effective. It's used purposefully, but you don't need that for drill through. In fact, the craziest thing, the drill through levels don't even have to come from the same table. So witness this, my friend. I mean, right now we have from the same table, like you go to bikes and drill down and you see subcategory. So mountain bikes, and within mountain bikes, oops, did I? Let's do model. Right, so I'm using within a similar table. Let's go to accessories. So accessories, bike stands, tires and tubes, and then I can drill down, and you know, so you. And sorry, I hard coded the title, so that's not changing. But we're going from category down to subcategory down to model name. But you can go across tables, if that makes sense. And yeah, so you got to be careful with that. So you can, let's say, go from category to whatever you want. Let's pick month. So I can go bikes and drill down and see, oh, look, you know, this is how bikes are doing by month. And within that, want to go crazy? Let's go by country. So it's okay, got it. So bikes, this is how, was it bikes? I forget what it was. Let's say it was bikes. So so drill up. Yeah, so bikes, I drill down, and now I'm seeing it by month. And I say, ooh, what happened in August? And I drill down, and I say, oh, shoot, we were down all across. But this blank country, sorry, I don't know where that comes from. That's doing really bad. And North America, sorry, I'm not sure what's going on with the data, but you get the idea. So you can have anything you want in the levels as long as it makes sense. Don't go crazy. All right. Okay. Oh wait, sorry. So if you, so I may have gone off a tangent. You guys are discussing drill through. Okay. Anyway, hopefully this helps somebody else. So drill through. Yep. Okay, great. So Nick is helping out on the drill through. He's on it. He's in charge of that. Perfect. Let's see. So coming back here. So Alex Neiberg, our visualization guru, he pointed out very politely, he's like, Avi, hope you don't mind. I just want to share this with you that nobody shows numbers this way. If they are that big, you never show it to the dollar. You show it like millions or something like that. And that one, of course, you can change it here, where you can go here. And is it here? Data label, display. And you can change it to auto, where it kind of figures it out for itself. It's like, oh, okay, this is in millions, so I'm going to show a million. Or you can force it to be something. So let's try, go to budget, and let's go auto. Auto. Yeah, you get the point. And that's fair. That maybe looks a little better, although doesn't give you as much control, because sometimes I've seen people like to see like one decimal place. So if you want to see like 16.1 million, you know, so you can of course do it differently, not this approach. And another challenge with the auto display is that if somebody clicks on something and it filters, so if I click on bikes, you know, it still makes sense. But if I click on clothing, actually that's pretty cool. It automatically adjusts. So I think that's pretty fair. That's pretty fair. Maybe I'll change that. Okay, to add discoverability for unfiltered, add a text box labeled all behind the graph visual. So Peter, is that a bookmark trick? I feel like it is. So sometimes I get the question from whoever my client is, like, how do I clear all the filters? How do I kind of start over, because now even tables can be filtered. So you can be drilled down into something, and then whatever, you're at some level, Canada and Alexander Barnes, and if you have slicers and so forth. So how do I restart? So of course, my simple answer is, if they're watching it on uh, if they're consuming it on the browser, then I just say, hey, just refresh, just reload the page. Oops, didn't mean to do that. Come on, custom profitability. So that's one option. But if you're using Power BI Desktop, then how do you clear all filters? And that one is a bookmark trick, which has been used and demonstrated by others. I think Guy in a Cube has shown that toggle. But the idea is that you actually, let's try it. If you guys are gonna humor me, and hey, I haven't played a lot with the new features. Again, I focus more on what's under the covers. I do believe that that's what is the real strength behind Power BI, the model, the engine, right? So clean shape transform, bring it in, and then you build your model right to DAX measures. And that is powerful because in one way it transcends all of this Power BI visualization. This is not the only visualization tool you can use. You can use any tool that you want. You can use Excel and so forth. And yeah, so I want to build a lot of kind of smartness. I want to do the heavy lifting in my measures as much as makes sense. Rather than always relying on the visualization layer, because somebody could be using Excel or SSRS or something else. But it certainly has its cool stuff. But I would say that if you're kind of starting out, if you're a beginner to intermediate, don't get distracted by shiny objects. My number one recommendation to anybody who joins my class, the Learn Power BI program, is unsubscribe to the Power BI monthly updates. There was one student every single week. So the monthly updates come out every month, of course, but every single week we would meet for the Q&A, and he was excited about some new feature in the last or previous monthly update, and he wanted to know about that. And I'm like, have you gone through the DAX modules yet, right? So that's where the real power lies. So yeah, I mean, shiny object, it's I'm not sure if I talked about it in this call, but I talk about it in some other setting where I talk about what people do is they put lipstick on a pig. So I've seen some kind of horror stories where I was asked to brought in to kind of clean up work somebody else had done, and I would look at their Power BI work, and it was beautiful. I mean, it looked far prettier than anything that I can produce on the visual level, but under the covers, they were kind of running it with a cobbled together Excel file or some other contraption. That's what putting lipstick on a pig is, right? I mean, it's not going to make it prettier. So, I mean, yeah, sure. In this case, you're going to have a pretty picture, but under the hood, if you don't have a good clean shape transform model, which is either automatic refresh or one-click refresh, and don't have the magic of kind of measures we just defined once, don't have that one source of truth, then yeah, you're missing out on the magic. Okay, so hey, we're gonna try bookmarks together. How about that? So the scenario is I want to do a quick way to reset everything, and of course in the browser it's easy, but in here how are we gonna do it? So let's say bookmarks. I'm not sure. It may be a preview feature. So by the way, Microsoft does release a lot of features in preview, and you have to activate them. So you go to File, Options, and I know I have it activated, but I just want to show it to you guys. And preview features, there we go. And notice here that yeah, I activated bookmark at some point. There are some other ones, quick measures, all of that sort of stuff. And yeah, you can. So these rotate in and out. So bookmarks, once it's done with preview, is GA. It's going to disappear from this list, and it's going to be generally available. But before that, you have to kind of activate it here. So that's often a confusion point for me as well. We're like, dude, I don't see bookmarks. And then somebody reminds me, like, oh, you have to turn it on. So here we go, bookmarks. So this is our base state. Actually, it still looks filtered. Oh, no, this looks good. So I'm going to add a bookmark here. Oops, no, sorry, wrong. So we go add, and I'll rename it, and I don't know, start. Okay, fair enough. And now I want to bring in some image to make it a button. Let me see if I have a button somewhere. Ooh, I got the easy button. How about that? That's pretty cool. So let's go. Ah, seriously? Okay, hold on. Now I'm fascinated about the easy button, so we're gonna make it work. How small? Is that pretty good? That's probably pretty good. Okay. All right, let's try that again. Easy. I don't know where to put it. Let's stick it there for a while. So easy, and help me out. There's a way to link it, right? Link it to the bookmark. I don't know how to do it. My friends on YouTube Live. Oh, thank you. Day 2. Why is it saying day 2? Okay, perfect. How do I link it to the bookmark? I know, sorry, there's a delay in here. So you're probably going to answer my question, but let me see if I can pull out Power BI bookmarks. Link, data drill. Drill through is there. That's pretty cool. Format image tab. I'm still a little lost. So format image tab, I don't use it. Select. Ooh, there we go. Oh, sorry. So this here. Oh, sorry. So yeah, you had the right answer. So not here, but it's right there in the pane over here. So link on bookmark. That was easy. It's always easy when you know how. And start. How about that? And I think we can close it. So now I can get lost in here. I can drill down over here. I can click Nicole, and then I can hit let me turn this off. Hit the easy button, and I don't know. What did I do wrong? It's supposed to take me back. Bookmark pane. Huh. This works. So if I click here, it works. Easy link on bookmark start. Maybe there's a good reason it's in preview, or maybe I'm doing something wrong. But I've seen others make it work, so I'll say it's probably me. Let's try it one more time. Nicole, and if I had easy, okay. All right. All right, guys. So yeah, visualization. That's all I had. I mean, of course. So you know what? I'll show you what I cover inside the course. So again, the theme is simple. I like simple. Simple is good, and certainly for the kind of reports that I talked about, in the trenches kind of thing. Something you're going to see day to day, and not like a fancy wow thing. I mean, that's not. So I'll show you what I cover inside the course. So I pick up kind of where we leave off here, where I talk about kind of keeping it simple, but then I talk about every one of the basic elements. So you noticed here in the graph over here, I think you can do a lot with just column or bar charts, table, and a card is kind of a table in my mind, card or a multi-row card, and line charts. You can do a lot just with that, and there's nothing wrong with it. In fact, with these basic elements, you can build some of the most amazing dashboards. I mean, there are some other elements like bullet charts is Stephen Few approved, and there is a custom visual for bullet charts, but that's my general advice, that don't go crazy on custom visuals like, oh, this looks so fancy and look at the weave it weaves and all this stuff. Don't go crazy there. So there are some good ones there, but in the course I not only talk about kind of what visual, like when would you use a column versus a bar, when would you, how would you, so I just give you kind of what I've learned really, and I say, yeah, when would you use clustered versus stacked, right? How would you make that call? Talk about drill down, color saturation. So I really give you what I learned doing this on the ground, building these reports for teams day in and day out and seeing what works, what doesn't, the challenges, the pitfalls. So I kind of give you that, but I keep it simple. I'm not going to show you how to build a fancy kind of infographic. Tooltips are great. That's really terrific. So let's see this guy. If you were paying attention to the, so in here we did a comment. Ooh, how cool is that? So as you hover over January, there's some commentary which shows up over there, right? So let's see. Yeah, as you go to February, notice the changes. So that's really cool. That's done through tooltips and a little bit of DAX. Custom visuals, talk about that. Line versus column. Yeah, I kind of mean, when do you use a line chart? When do you use a column chart? Line versus area, combo chart, waterfall, scatter, bubble, play axis, pie chart, tree map, map, filled map. So yeah, a little bit of R, matrix, and so forth. So yeah, I kind of go through that, but yeah, simple is good. Simple is your friend, and if you are interested in that, certainly the book is Stephen Few, Information Dashboard Design. Okay, I'm so used to the multi-hour calls that it feels short, but hey, we don't have to force it. So I'll call it a day. I'll see you tomorrow, guys, and remember, tomorrow we're gonna share the invite to day 5 in this call itself. I hope some folks take me up on it. I have no idea how it's gonna go, and I'm not really sure what we're going to cover either. Maybe we'll talk about PowerBI.com platform question. Maybe I'll just look at what you guys have been talking about on inside the Talk Power BI Facebook group or something else, because I'm not really hot on this. I mean, I think this is something that can be tackled later, not as part of this challenge. I mean, that's the good problem to be solved, but doesn't have to be solved if you're just focused on building our first dashboard. So if you have any ideas, let me know. So the best thing, if you're interested in my course, is go to the early bird page and sign up. And let's see. So if you go to learnpowerbi.com, that is gonna have, and that way you're gonna be the first to know when the course is available, and you're gonna find all information about it. So yeah, so just go to learnpowerbi.com and click on course. And right now that takes you to the early bird page. So for those of you who are familiar, this is how I run my course so far, where I open enrollment for a brief period and I recruit a class and then just turn around and focus entirely on them, entirely on teaching. And I'm not sure if I'll continue that model, who knows? But so far I like it because it helps me, once the doors are closed, it just helps me give 100% focus to the students and the class. All right, my friends, I will see you tomorrow and we'll get hyped up for day 5. Take care. Power on, my friends.